guys, that's your Command today in Raid Shadow Legends. I am not alone. I am joined by YS to the T. YST, welcome to the channel. And what the heck does YST stand for, bro? Genzen?
It stands for Genzen, Genzen, Genzen.
Now, let's show the audience the mask again. Don't cover it with your hand. Like try to take your hand off it.
Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's a thing of beauty, man. That's a thing of beauty.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
I need like I don't know. Who do I need a mask of? Vagabond. I need a vagabond mask, bro.
Are you sure about that?
Oh man, that's some scary stuff.
Yeah, it's something to really give my child nightmares for decades to come, you know? Dude, it's been a minute since we collabed here on the channel, bro. What does YST stand for?
It's a secret.
Okay. Oh, you've never revealed? You've never revealed.
I've never revealed it. It would be fun to hear your viewers maybe guess in the comments potentially.
YST. I think it's dirty or inappropriate in some way, but I'm not going to take any guesses.
This kid is nasty, and I f***ing like it.
Okay, guys, you can guess. What does YST stand for? That's the...
I'll tell you one thing. It's not as like exciting as people may think. Like it's nothing crazy.
Okay. Anyway, YST, we're here to talk about, we just did a collab on your channel, you guys check it out, talking about a sleeper epic who you've fallen in love with, who I also am in love with, and she's awesome.
Do you think she's prettier than me?
But in today's video here, we're actually going to talk about not the best champions in the game per se, but of, you know, involving some legendaries, but also a couple other epics and maybe even a rare in there, I think on my list. Champions that we find ourselves using a ton lately, like maybe newer champions who have grown on us or older champions who we've revisited and find extra utility out of. So I would also love to ask the audience right out the gate before you even hear our answers. Do you have a champion that comes to mind when I ask that question? Is there one champion that you guys have been using a lot of lately, or you're just feeling? It might not be the most OP, but there's a champion that you're just digging lately. Let me know about it in the comments. YST, you are the guest here on Ash Raid Shadow Legends. You can go first, bro.
So, Jake, are you feeling lucky?
The most unoriginal name on YouTube I've got, and the most unoriginal little avatar, literally the game. Anyway, I digress. What you got, bro? What you got?
First one we're kicking off with is Mr. Grand Oak Padraig.
Oh, it's hard not to take Grand Oak, man. Yeah. Patrick, my man, Christmas tree.
So there was two champions in the game that I've gone for over the past 5 years for guaranteed events. One was Genzen, surprise, surprise. And then second was a Grand Oak Padraig. And I think it was a very unique one because he was released throughout a fusion, if I'm not mistaken, with some fragments in there. So I was like, instead of going for the summon rush, let me just go for Grand Oak and see how he is. And he way surpassed my expectations. He's now in my main Nightmare team. He's the reason why I can farm stage 10 of the Fire Knight hard as well, because I don't have Mikage. He's just a great ally attack champion, brings in all of those buffs with that passive, A1 to reduce those skill cooldowns. He's a phenomenal champion to come into the game.
Yeah, dude, he really is built differently. What is about him? I mean, for me, the thing that I appreciate most about him, his whole kit is nasty. Every ability is nasty. But really, you mentioned it out the top, but man, the power of that passive, dude, is so... It just allows him to fill so many roles in one champion, doesn't it? It's just like, is that the thing that you appreciate the most or makes him most irreplaceable about the way that you use him? Or is it like, what about it? Is it ally attack? Like, what about him specifically is just like, this is why he's just better than any other ally attacker or whatever that you're using right now?
Yes, so it's the buffs from the passive, because in my team I've got like Mishinaki, who's defense based, and I've got Raizuvarg, who's attack based. He's giving them both the stats that we need, but also the increased accuracy for some of our debuffers.
So nice, yeah.
But it's the restoration of HP as well to counter Head of Decay, and there's only Marishka Unbreakable, Grand Oak Padraig, and I believe one of the latest Veil champions has it as well, but it's very scarce in this game, that full restoration. So that's probably the two main reasons that I use Padraig.
Yeah, dude, he's really nasty. I was surprised at, well, I wasn't surprised. I knew he was good, saw him being added to the game, but when I built him, I was like, wow, guy, he's a really, really good, like SS tier legendary. All right, cool. You mentioned her, so I'm just gonna start with the only mythical on my list. Ooh. I mean, I've talked about her so much. You said you don't have her. I hope you get her soon. It's Lady Mikage, bro. She is... I just find myself using her more and more and more and more and more. every area that even I don't think she's going to shine in, she ends up being like value over replacement better. The team's more efficient. The team runs faster, yada, 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 whether it's Hydra or like dungeons or curse. It doesn't matter, man. She's so good. Arena. She's so versatile, and you know, she's not easy to get at all, right? 2 legendaries in the fusion, but I'm so happy that she is the fusion, because I think she's one of the best mythical champions in the entire game. And there's some really good mythicals out there. You know, obviously different utility than like a Galathier and whatever, but still, she's so versatile, right? She's got like, I mean, I could be here all day reading her kit. Her base stats are insane. She's super fast. She has these crazy, awesome little passives at the start of this champion's turn, removes all debuffs from the ally with the highest attack. And then on the second form, at the start of this champion's turn, decreases the turn meter of the enemy with the highest attack. Nice little control kind of built in there on her second form. Of course, she's known to have the stun, the decreased turn meter, the remove all buffs, the weaken, the increased accuracy, and the sleep on the A1, 100% sleep with turn meter decrease. Great control there, kind of little siffy action. Can't be resisted, but still good. But I love her base form the most, man. She's got, of course, the ally attack, the best ally attack in the entire game, bar none. I say that because it's the only ally attack with the increased crit damage and increased attack that we're getting. So we're really min-maxing our damage off of this ability. All allies join. She teams up as well. She has, you know, another shield on the A1, but it's really the A2 that I love the most, bro. This is so nasty, bro. It does everything in terms of buff extension and decrease to everybody, right? It has 4 effects on a 3-turn cooldown. Decreased duration of enemy buffs, all ally debuffs, decreased duration, increased duration of all enemy debuffs, increase the duration of all ally buffs. It's so nasty. To me, this is probably, it's one of the strongest skills in the game, man. Like, I mean, it does everything. It does everything. So there we go. I've talked enough about Mikage, but she's amazing, bro. Like, I love this champion.
Yeah, no, she's really, really powerful. I'm just waiting for Eostrid and Fire Gun Isbel. So Raid, sort me out, and then I'll be able to enjoy her like everybody else is. Well, nowadays.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was almost going to put Eostrid on the list, man. I really like this guy, but I talked about that actually in your video, so I'll let viewers find out why there. Who do you have next?
Next up, I'm going to say one of the best champions added this year in Firrol the Barkhorn.
Oh, I don't have him, so there, I could be jealous of you.
Yeah, so it's very hard, because obviously we do the ratings on hellhades.com. There's not a crazy amount of champions that get that 5-star overall. And Firrol the Barkhorn is, man, he is in a league of his own when you talk about the Hydra boss. It is bonkers, because
tell us why.
That combination of decreased accuracy, block buffs, increased resistance, perfect veils, and also that crazy passive where if you're under 4 or more buffs, you get a straight out 20% damage boost. And if you build him in protection set, you know, that's because he brings in 2 buffs. You're going to have 30% damage boost for absolutely everybody in your team. It's like, if this guy is in your comp, you hardly need any resistance to tackle the hardest difficulty. He's very, very powerful as a standalone champion. Yeah,
I initially, he came out, I don't have him again. And he came out in the game, and I quickly scanned his kit. I remember this is before he was even in the game, you know, like it was just an announcement, you know, and I was like, all right, you know, like I was so wrong on him, because I think I just glossed over the last line of the passive, that damage boost. So I want to ask you this, YST. If you take away that one last line of his passive, is that where he's getting the majority of his value to you? Because like after that, he seems like a good champion, but not like an insanely game changer for me. But when you add that, it's like, yes, that's it, you know?
No, I think the main value is a lot of value, don't get me wrong, but I think it's that combination of decreased accuracy and increased resistance and perfect veil in, like, you know, for one champion. It's fulfilling so many roles. And it's only once you have this in your team do you feel like you can just progress. Whatever your difficulty you're doing, if you've got Firrol in your team, the stats are just so low, so you can now ramp up the damage on all of your champions without having to worry about all these other stats, right?
True.
He's just... Yeah, he is the, like, me and Nubs actually did a collab, right? Having a discussion about is he better than Duchess Lilitu as a perfect veil for Hydra? And we both came up to the decision that he way surpasses Duchess. For sure.
Yeah, that's no. I agree, and I can't wait to get him someday. Hopefully, because he looks so cool, man. Like he looks like, I don't know, the Grinch who stole Christmas or something. I don't know.
I will say, like, let's just say a new difficulty of Hydra comes, right? Which I'm maybe forecasting. We never know. It's just speculation.
Ooh,
but
some inside info. Okay. Guaranteed. You heard it here first.
We're hacking into the raid systems. But if they do, decrease accuracy and increase resistance, I think is going to be mandatory, especially when you're trying to reach specific stats. So being able to pick up someone like him it's a nice pickup for anyone's account, for sure.
Okay. I love that, man. I love that. Let's keep it going. He's on my wish list. I think he might be my most wanted non-Void legendary.
I heard that somewhere.
Even including Voids, I think the only guy that I would want more than him is Sulfurion, I think, right now.
Ooh, nice, yeah.
But anyway, I digress. I will go with, I only have one rare on my list. I made a whole video about him, so I'll be quick on it, but I really love Boughsmith Flannan. He is, are you familiar?
Sylvan Watcher dude, right?
Yeah, Sylvan Watcher,
I've got him
rare,
here. Yep.
Force Affinity. He's so good. And again, I'll be brief because I feel like I've talked about this guy for like an hour throughout the last few videos. His A1's so good, bro. It's attack one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 40% chance of placing a stun. Each hit also has a 10% chance of, decreases target's turn meter by 10% if they're under a decreased speed. He's got a decreased speed on an AoE on a 3-turn cooldown on his A2. He's defense based. He's tanky for a rare. 1365 base defense, very good for a rare. Then he has an ally attack with one ally on the A3, but it really just parlays the value of that A1 again, right? Because he's joining in the attack, obviously. Yep. So you can stun somebody else. He also brings increased accuracy on all allies on the same ability. It's the weak version, but it's still extremely valuable, 25% accuracy boost. And then it all comes together with the hammer rhythm. He has a 50% chance of taking an extra turn when he places a decreased speed on 3 or more enemies. So he basically, you can chain react. You can open up with his A2, decrease speed everybody, do a little bit of damage, come in with an ally attack, increase accuracy on everybody, stun another target, decrease their turn meter, and that's all in one go round. There's been a lack of good rares added to the game, and I think he's a really nice control tanky rare. Faction Wars, Cursed City content, Doom Tower, hard, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's actually a pretty nice rare champion kit, to be fair. Like, as you said, they don't really, I kind of wish they would release some really top tier rares into the game. And
Cold Heart 2.0, I was talking about that in a recent collab,
yeah,
bro.
man.
Like, what are they afraid of, man? Like, they release all these ridiculously OP mythicals. Plarium, one rare. One really, really good rare a year. That's all we're asking, one a year. Not one every 5 years,
Everything you're saying is going in one ear and out the other.
Because there's still nobody who's Cold Heart level,
Yeah, she's just in a league of her own since the start of the game, pretty much. So yeah, I would love to see someone come and shape it up a little bit. Do you know what I'd love to see as well? I would love to see Steel Bowyer get a buff to actually deal some nice max HP for AoE.
Ooh,
that'd be nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
A Steel Bowyer, yeah. I was going to Soul Bond as a creature of habit, but yeah, you're right. Steel Bowyer has the enemy max HP ability on the AoE, but it's weak sauce, man. It's
weak, yeah.
It's I think 1/10 the power of like Royal Guard, I want to say.
Yeah, I'd just love to see it. Can you imagine her nice 4-turn cooldown or something against the Hydra budget option?
Yeah,
I think it'd be a great change for Ray to make for Steel Bowyer.
Yeah, good call out. Okay, who we got next, man?
Next up, who really made some of the biggest impacts? I would say Eostrid Dreamsong, one of the most recent fusions.
Yeah.
Eostrid Dreamsong is, well, for me personally, every shard video that I do, I'm screaming out, Lady Kimmy, Necmo4, come to my account. And then when they released her, I was like, ooh, this is a bit of a take on a Necmo4. And, kind of fulfills the roles I wanted.
Right.
But increase speed, increase attack, turn meter fills, extra turn, decrease speed and weaken, and turn meter decrease, all in one turn. Like, this is just bonkers for the Hydra. It's great for the arena, you name it. She is really, really good. Huge fan of Eostrid.
I agree, and she has that beautiful base speed of 115 as well. Like, her base stats are all the money, a boatload of HP, almost 22k. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I have nothing to add there, bro, other than you're right. People value Lady Kimmy so high. And granted, she does some things that Eostrid doesn't, and vice versa, but with the buff removal, yada, yada, yada. But man, I think she's better, Eostrid, you know?
Yeah,
or
like
I would rather her, I would say, you know?
Yeah, I'd say the Necmo is probably the better comparison, but even then, it's like, it's so hard to pull that, man. I've been trying for years. Like, give me a damn Necmo. But I don't feel like I need it anymore. Because the problem in this game is, obviously, you've got Lydia the Death Siren, drop defense and weaken, right? And then for your other teams, you're like, who do I really want to use as a weaken here? Like, my Gnut's a good option, but then he's mischief tanking because of the counterattack he places. Like, it's just so many nifty ways, and she just pairs perfectly with my Mishinaki who places drop defense. So no brainer bringing her into my main team.
It's so true. I struggled with the same thing, man. I was like, I had Venus and I had Lydia, and I'm like, who am I gonna use as my third decreased defense weaken? I tried Bellinor. It's like he wasn't doing he just wasn't doing that great. He didn't bring enough to the table other than a little bit of damage, you know. But Eostrid, to your point, she brings so much. I totally agree. All right. Next up, I have another champ that I did a video on recently. She was in my vault for ages, bro, and she's a Shadowkin epic named Taya. Do you have any experience with Taya?
I've probably got experience of every Shadowkin.
Okay, cool. She's really cool. She's a lot better than I thought she was, right?
Yeah.
She's got the decreased accuracy on the A1, which is nice. She's got a triple hitter, each hit placing the big version of poison, like really nice poison application here. On the A3, it's really, Blood Boil is the highlight of her kit. It's a 3-turn cooldown, instantly activates any poisons and HP burns on the target, also heal reduction. So with the triple hitter on the A2 plus the A3, you can use her in Fire Knight anywhere you need heal reduction. But obviously, as an activator for poison and burns against bosses, because it's a single target, she's a great option, and she's free-ish. Like, it takes you a while to get her, but anybody can get her from Doom Tower normal. So big fan of Taya, and she's now on my fastest dragon hard team. She comes in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I actually got it from the HH team optimizer. I copied the team, but it's like a 20-second team where she basically comes in there at the end, and all she does is we have like a reflex. It could be a Staltis or a Yumeko. Reflect the poisons back, and you only need one Blood Boil. You just activate, boom, with some other damage, obviously, on the team too. And it's a really fast run, so I really have a newfound appreciation for her.
Oh, that's interesting. I might give her a bit of extra. I think when I was revisiting her kit, I was thinking Amius the Lunar Archon, a great heal reduction option, 100% chance. So
that's true too. Yeah,
a great way to, like, if you come up against those rotations or whatever, like, she could be a decent option if you don't have anything else.
Yeah, I'll run her in the background for folks to see in case they missed the video. I hope I didn't change the gear around. Maybe I did, but we'll see in the background how she does. But in the meantime, man, who do you have next?
For me, you know, I'm going to go in with an epic champion as well, and I'm going to go with, shout out to Saf. I think everyone knows what's coming. Whisper.
I love Whisper, man. She is like legendary damage, huh, man?
She is absolutely bonkers. Like, for anyone that's not maxed up a Whisper yet, you're missing out. Big time.
It's like, so true, dude.
For me personally, if you talk about Astranix the Dark Fae, with the kind of, I'd say the combination of damage together, maybe not just one hit abilities, but, you know, if you can't exceed 10% of the max HP of a boss, for instance, like, all of those damages over and over again. I can speed farm Astranix the Dark Fae. She's in my Phantom Shogun team for stage 25. Absolutely melts that boss completely. I'd say those are the two primary areas that she's made the biggest impacts. Like, without her, I don't think I'll be doing stage 25 Shogun right now. Anyway, maybe still be on 24, potentially. So,
dude, I am such a late convert to Whisper, bro. You know, there's two epics who everybody talks about, and Whisper, she's my only +4 empowered champion on my account, on my account. So really happy with that. I did a video on her too, and I was blown away, man. Let's put it this way, dude. I ran her in Hydra, and I have a +1 Cupidus who's fully awakened, 6 stars, right? And I think he outdamaged her by like less than whatever, like 10. She was within 10% damage, bro. And like without her being awakened. And I'm like, this is insane from an epic, you know? It's insane, dude. So I am a massive convert. By the way, the other one, how do you feel about, I imagine you love her because she's Shadowkin, But the other one I hear about from everybody is Aboro, who can be sick, and I haven't used her a lot.
Yeah, I've not really. Well, I say I've tried out every Shadowkin, but Aboro, I did rank her up. I have got like a high star blessing on her. I just haven't given her a fair shot yet. But I have seen what you're talking about. I've seen the results, the crazy damage, so I'm aware. But I think like. What is it that she's really so increased crit rate, increased crit damage?
She has the AoE on the A1. She just pumps out those hard hitting AoEs on the A1.
Okay, so that's all right. Yep.
It's a qualified, but is there what is it? If they will attack all enemies if the target is under 4 or more debuffs. So you just stack a lot of debuffs, which is usually the case in Hydra teams, and that spreading chaos, it has a decreased defense on it as well. So like she's a debuffer, and a strong AoE with a lot of damage is what I hear. But you guys can let us know in the comments. Maybe I'm too high, or maybe I'm too low. Who knows? But no, Whisper's a great call out, man. I'm sorry. Repeat. Where do you use Whisper right now on your squad?
Whisper, Phantom Shogun's Grove, and Astranix the Dark Fae is my main areas, and a bit of Hydra for fun here and there. Awesome,
man. All right, I've got an old school champion on the list, old school legendary. It's Ghostborn, man. Ghostborn is one of these weird champions who I've seen on all these speed teams in the like these top teams. I've been like, why are they using Ghostborn, man? Like, you know, like I really didn't fully understand, to be honest, as embarrassing as it might sound now in hindsight. I do know that he's super easy to build because you can build him for tons of damage because you don't need accuracy to land the decreased defense. It cannot be resisted. It's definitely unique. It also has an increased attack on all allies. The reason that I really, at least for me, the reason that, and it's a small little subtlety, it's not a game-breaking thing as to why he's better than every other decreased defense champion other than Lydia in the game, is because he brings the increased attack that can help activate Seer, you know, like that. So that increased attack, even on, I guess, a Lydia team, you know, it's another buff, and that one extra buff times 5 makes all the difference when you're trying to get those Seer, Karma Burn buffs out there. It's kind of a niche pick. I was actually going to go with your guy, Genzen, who I'm using too a lot more.
See, this guy's terrible.
Yeah, I know. Genzen I'm using on my main Fire Knight team, and he destroys, so I love him, but I wanted to stick with the thesis of this entire video, which is a champion that we're using so much more than we ever have. And Ghostborn has now become, like, on any Seer team, he's become my de facto debuffer. He can deal damage. He has nice debuffs. And he has a decreased defense on his A1 100% as well, right? So like when you get to the boss, you can slap that decreased defense down, provided you do have some accuracy, or you can just rely on that A3. So yeah, I'm starting to use Ghostborn now on all my Seer teams.
Yeah, no, I've always wanted a Ghostborn. I just kind of forgot that he existed at one point. I was like, wait, who's Ghostborn? I had to remember for a second. But I've always wanted him because of what you said, that non-resistible decreased defense, reliable, keeps your run consistent, and yeah, he's a great champion. And the extra buff there is very, very powerful for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, forget just Seer teams. It's nice to have the increased attack, decreased defense on the same ability anyway. You know, like that's a really nice move. Yeah. So anyway, who you got? Do you only have one more, right?
I think I got 2, but maybe 1. I don't know. I think I'm losing count.
No, go. Hit it.
All right. So next up, I'm going to go with... who made the biggest impact? I'm going to go with Gnut from the Dwarves.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think
he almost has to be included, right?
I'm trying to be a bit non-conventional, but at the same time, Gnut is in absolutely everywhere. Like, he's in my finite hard team, he's in my dragon team. He performs very well against any Doomtower boss under the sun to speed farm it. Like, he is just a one-of-a-kind champion. Like, amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
probably one of the best fusions of all time, right? At least up there, top 2.
Yeah, I think the video's already out by the time that this one goes live, so I will say it, but Scratch and I did a collab, and we ranked, we drafted every fusion. So we took turns, like it was a fantasy team or something, you know? And, well, spoiler alert, Gnut was #1 pick overall, and I agree.
Oh, he's number 1, yeah. You can't disagree with it. Like,
no.
I'm just thinking of all the options. I might have missed one, but it's between like him and Armand's, right? For me, anyway. Like,
yeah, well, those two. Now I'm ruining the whole video, but Armand's is #2.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Now you're gonna be like, yeah, well, obviously Tormund was #3, right? No, I'm joking. So anyway, yeah, dude, I agree, man. Gnut he's the best, man. He's the best fusion. ever. That's why I truly believe that. So
Yeah, no, he I can't argue with that for sure. Yeah.
So, and I totally agree. I pulled the second Gnut, I don't know, a few months ago, and it was even a second Gnut was one of the biggest game changers on my account. You know, like that speaks to how good he is, right? Because I'm like, okay, now I can 2 Gnut, and it's like, okay, everything just becomes even faster because of the Blessed Bash ability.
It's like whenever we do like a Sun Devil video, Gnut's in there, like, who can you use instead of Gnut? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Just this guy's doing at max HP, like it is what it is. But.
Never empower Gnut. I mean, like, I know this is just speaking to the Krakens out there, but just in case you ever get lucky and you get 2 Gnuts, never empower Gnut. Never empower Gnut. I say that, YST, because a dude sent me a screenshot of his account on Twitter, and he was like, hey, suggestions for my whatever. I forgot the team. I forgot like what, but he sent me his list of his champions, and he had a +1 Gnut, bro.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh. I'm like, that's the biggest mistake you can make on your account, bro.
This could actually make for a good video at some point.
Right?
Like, do not empower these legendaries.
No, man. He's like the most valuable champ in the game to build 2 of. Oh, that hurt. That hurt a lot. I have been using a lot of. You know what? I actually had Rio Bone Spear written down, who I've been using a lot more than I ever have lately, but I just showed a dragon run with Yumeko on it, and I hate to pick a Void Legendary. They're both Void Legendaries, but hard to get Void Legendary. But for too long on my account, I boxed Yumeko in as being an arena superstar for me with a Dance of Time ability, or an Eleanor or a Seer reset champion or a Xavier, you know, like, and she's so much more than that, and it's really the power of the A2. Of Destiny's Mirror. You saw it right now. I just showed the dragon run in the background. Basically, deflecting debuffs is so powerful. It works against Bommel. It works against Dragon. It works everywhere, basically, right? Yeah. You're reflecting debuffs. Her passive, that she plays a Perfect Veil at the start of each round for 2 turns. Like, that's super, super strong. She's immune to debuffs when she's under that Perfect Veil. Makes her so difficult to deal with in the arena and everywhere else. But for me, it's just, she's made her way into not only I actually stopped using her in the arena so I could rebuild her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, not to say that she's not. I have Crixia, so I use her in the arena.
Oh,
but like,
there we go.
So yeah. It's not like if she was my only option for a lockout, I would still use her. But or if I had Warlord or something like that, you know, I would just use Warlord instead. You know, but Yumeko though, she's on my main like. Dude, I built her with a ton of crit damage, and now she's my Phantom Shogun tank as well. She's like, I feel like she's so good in almost everywhere PvE. She's such a tremendous champion, and obviously Dance of Time is still insane in PvE as well. So I'm mentioning her not because of the arena, which we always talk about her about. I'm mentioning her because of the impact that she can have with that A2 deflecting debuffs. It's so strong.
100%. Like, she is in every single team that I can think of. Like, that's not even over exaggerating. Like, if you talk about Doom Tower, double reset Seer team, she's in my dungeon teams for the reflections of the poisons. She's not in my Fire Knight team, but she's in my main arena teams, live arena, you name it. Yumeko is absolutely bonkers. Like, crazy good. She's
insane, man. She's insane. I'm gonna show the Phantom Shogun squad with her on in the background too. But you said you have one more for us, YST. Hopefully it's not a dirty Void Legendary like yours truly. Who is it?
It was between 2. One of them was a Void Legendary. I'm not gonna go for it because I feel like I only use it in one area. But I'm gonna say Harima. From Shadowkin.
It's a good shout out. It's a good inclusion, I should say.
Like, I don't know what, I'm just gonna admit this here on Ash's channel. Lock me up, throw away the key. I had Harima for about 2 months before I actually used her.
Ooh.
So like, I pulled her. I was like, oh, like, she's a good champion. I already had the Aureus and Barons. I'm like, I am sick of building damage dealers. I have no gear for this raid. And then I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna build up Harima. I think it was when Live Arena came out, and I was like, what the heck have I been doing? Like, this is like probably arguably one of the best nukers in the game, and I was just sitting on her
She's
for no
disgusting,
reason.
man. I wonder
really
how many players out there just sit on random champions who are beasts and they just don't realize it for a while, you know. Talk about what impressed you so much from her. Where are you using her? Because I started using her in an area where I had not previously, but I want to hear from you first.
She's in one of my lower variation Hydra teams, not my main team, because I don't have Mikage yet. Might make a difference later.
Yep.
She's in my live arena teams. It's primarily arena, I would say, but you know, wherever you kind of want to use this, it's just it's mainly that A2, right? That manipulation of defense and increasing this defense. If you do not kill her quickly, she's going to be an absolute nuisance. As well as that passive, which I'm going to tell you a secret strategy, right? No one's ever thought of this. A video will be coming out maybe in about, I don't know, 2-3 weeks or something. So against Bomb with a Dreadhorn, the actual Dread Bombs deal 50%, right? Max HP damage, or 40%, sorry. Well, this passive, in fact, works against the Dread Bombs. So you're taking that down to 20%. If you then freeze the Dread Bombs, cut it to 10%, with Duchess passive, you take no damage from the Dread Bombs. It is bonkers.
Ooh.
So it's a strategy that I'm going to be making a video on next rotation.
That is really cool. Okay.
Yeah. But she's the only champion.
We'll be on the lookout for that.
She's the only champion that I was seeing that really takes it down to like almost no damage in a full team. So it's very impressive.
That's awesome, man. That's a good call out there. I didn't even know that about Baumo. So I'll be looking forward to that video.
Yeah.
The other, I mean, she's a beast. She's so pivotal right now in the arena. She's so crucial. She's being used more than ever as a mitigator for like a White King, man. Like he's so nasty. And there's no way to stop that dude because he's ignoring shields and just going in there and just tearing up for every buff. But the Demon Slayer, that passive really is super strong. Obviously counters champions like a Nutcracker, like the
Barons,
ignore, the Barons, the ignore 100% defense who are tough to deal with when they get a turn. She'll mitigate all of that. She's an absolutely amazing like Rhodos counter, you know, being a strong force affinity. She's so great in the arena, but the area that I just started using her as well on my account is Ice Golem. So Ice Golem hard 10 or any stage you're at. If you have Harima, you got to remember for each minion alive for the Ice Golem, he ignores 50% of defense. And the Ice Golem, he has those auto attacks. So you do too much damage to him, he'll wipe your team. And if you're trying to go in there and improve your speed on an Ice Golem team, it's very difficult to do because if you do too much damage, you'll wipe. But Harima's passive again comes into play where she will mitigate 50% of the Ice Golem's ignore defense, you know, and allow you to keep your team alive. If you look at, I actually got I like that they did this. It's been like a year plus now that they've done this, but I like that you can see all the top teams on these dungeons. I got it right from the boss guide, from the teams of the week. I'm not sure if it's there right now, but there was a couple teams that is not there right now. There were a couple teams using Harima with like all out nuke strategies. And I was like, oh, interesting. They must be taking advantage of the passive. And then I ran her on my own squad and I was like, oh yeah, that actually works. So she really mitigated a lot of damage for me there too.
That's really interesting. I never thought of Harima in Ice Golem, but it does make sense.
Yeah,
sure, that's interesting.
Yeah, she can deal some damage, provoke the minions, and mitigate those critical hits. So, or ignore defense, excuse me. All right, dude. Well, hey, that was a good list, man. Thanks so much for coming on. You don't have to end the video here, though. My lovely viewers can check out YST's channel where we did a collab, again, talking about that epic champion that YST is really digging right now. YST, thanks again for joining me, man. Pleasure having you on.
Oh, anytime. It's been a long time, I guess, since being here. So it's great to see your viewers and see you again. And let's not make it too long next time.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Thanks again for YST coming on. Check out his info in the show notes below. And as always, take care, guys.